We go to forever war?
What?
You have a number of people who are upset about the situation with US and Iran.
That is true!
Thinking that this could turn into another Iraq.
What?
Because, of course, we know how wonderfully that went.
Are you retarded?
And then you have those on the other side who says, no, it's not going to be like that.
You sure about that?
We're in, we're out, no nukes, we're done.
A bullshit?
I'm Jazz Berganzo on this. Me? Yeah, I'm leaning towards the former. And that's what worries me. But it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jazz Berganzo. What's next? Your daily dose. Common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Tuesday. Well, the last 48 to 72 hours have been an absolute wow, especially with US and Iran. Well, we're all in. When you go over there and you bomb the living hell out of them and you send the Ayatollah to his grave so he can meet up with his 72 virgins, and this is not going to be easy. This is not going to be in or out or anything like that. But you have two different factions here. On one hand, you got those who are saying, you know what, this could turn into another endless war, another Iraq, because as we all know, Iraq is a wonderful place. You know, they're holding hands, they're singing Kumbaya. I think a Disneyland was built there. And then you have those on the other side who say, no, it's not going to be another Iraq. You know, we're going to take out their nuclear facilities. We're going to take out their capabilities. We're in, we're out, no nukes, we're done. We're not going to be there forever. Maybe. We don't know. But anyway. But both sides are, especially the side who doesn't want to see another Iraq, yeah, they're a little upset. And I'm leaning with them because I was there, I watched it, and it wasn't pretty. But here we go. This, coming out of Breitbart, Pete Hegseth. Iran operation is not endless or regime change. Washington, D.C. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth praised the U.S. military's ongoing operation in Iran, claiming it's not an endless or regime change war in a Monday morning press conference briefing at the Pentagon. Speaking alongside Joint Chiefs Staff Chairman Dan Kane, Hegseth acknowledged that the U.S. service members have not that have been killed in action, and yes, there have been. Since Operation Epic Fury began early Saturday morning, noted that the American deaths are not likely over, and that is scary. But it's about a 40-minute press conference. We're not going to go through all that. We're just going to get to the meat and potatoes of it, and that is the talk regarding media and endless war.
Media outlets and political left screaming endless war. Stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful.
And that's something I'll talk about too.
As we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force.
True.
America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history. B-2s, fighters, drones, missiles, and of course, classified effects. All on our terms, with maximum authorities. No stupid rules of engagement, no nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise, no politically correct wars. We fight to win, and we don't waste time or lives. As the president warned, an effort of this scope will include casualties. War is hell, and always will be.
Are there currently any American boots on the ground in Iran?
No, but we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will or will not do. I think it's one of those fallacies for a long time that this department or presidents or others should tell the American people, this, and our enemies, by the way, here's exactly what we'll do. Here's exactly how long we'll go. Here's exactly how far we'll go. Here's what we're willing to do and not do. It's foolishness. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years. We've proven that you can achieve objectives that advance American interests without being foolish about it. Now, will we be bold about it? Are we willing to be decisive about it? Do we put months and months of planning into what kind of effects we want to achieve? Absolutely. But going forward, why in the world would we tell you, the enemy, anybody, what we will or will not do in pursuit of an objective? We fight to win. We fight to achieve the objectives the President of the United States has laid out, and we will do so unapologetically. To the media outlets.
Wow, that is that's interesting. But then you have those who are just a little upset about this whole situation. This coming out of X from Megyn Kelly. Of course, she sat down with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and yeah, they're not happy.
I sense your aggravation, your frustration as I watched your Twitter feed, and you were in the minority on X, which again, it was just, I mean, X is completely saturated in neocons, the pro-Israel crowd, and people who would love to cheerlead us right into another Middle East ground war that's endless. I was grateful for your contrary perspective, Marjorie. Thank you for being here today, and give us your overall view on why you're against this.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Megan. And I completely agree with everything you said in your intro. I'd also like to point out that X is saturated in bots as well, and paid social media influencers who just echo whatever their money tells them to say, the money that they're getting paid for. And so I think that just like our media has been nothing but propaganda for as long as you and I can remember, I think
this is about a
media has
15-minute
turned into the
interview.
same
I'm not going to play the
What I
entire
do
thing
know
only
is
because
most
of time
Americans,
restraint.
and it's being proved in polling that's coming out, most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't. Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt. Massive credit card debt. That's where we are in America. And I campaigned with the president. As a matter of fact, I was one of the only Republicans that was out there for Donald Trump when the rest of the neocons, by the way, that are just cheering him on now, had abandoned him and were trying to beat him in a primary and stop him from being president again. I was out there on the front lines for Make America Great Again. And Make America Great Again was supposed to be America first, not Israel first, not any foreign country first, not any foreign people first, but the American people first in our.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. Like I said, it's about 15 minutes long. Check it out on Megyn Kelly. It's a very, I watched the entire thing. She makes some damn good points. I'm going to edit this down a little bit, but anyway, no forever war, no endless war. The thing is that we were told this when George W. Bush decided to send us to Iraq, to invade Iraq, to take out the, Saddam and the other clowns over there, because there were weapons of mass destruction. When it turns out there really wasn't any weapons of mass destruction, there were weapon caches, but that's as far as the extent went. And of course, this coming off of 9/11, which of course there was no reason to go in Iraq in the first place. We had to focus on Afghanistan because that is where you had bin Laden. That's where bin Laden was hiding out. And then eventually we did get bin Laden, because of course Barack Obama was going to take credit for it, with SEAL Team 6, who went in there and took care of business as they were trained to do. And that's the only thing that I can give George Bush, a little pat on the back for. But totally understandable. Totally understandable why people are upset about this, why people are saying, you know what, we can't go through this again. We lost over how many? Over 5,000 men and women in Iraq for this? Over 5,000. We can't go through this again. We can't. I mean, as much as I like Pete Hegseth, I think Pete Hegseth is a stud. He's based, But he can say this, that there's not going to be an endless war. He can say this, that we're not going to be stuck in a quagmire like it was in Iraq. No, no. I mean, he can say that all day long, but we really don't know. We don't know, because this is just the early stages. And like I said in the beginning of the video, we don't know that this is going to turn into, that this is going to to push people to do stupid things like we saw in Texas, and we don't know the extent of that, whether that is truly terrorism or not. They're still investigating. But, this could turn into copycat. This could turn into a number of people, saying, hey, you know what? This is dumb. This is stupid. We're going to attack innocent people. We're going to, God forbid, bomb innocent people. Like I said, we really don't know where this is going to go. So I can totally understand while those like Megyn Kelly, Tucker, Marjorie Taylor Greene, others have said, yeah, you know what? We can't go through this again. We can't. This is something that we didn't ask for. We didn't want. This was unprovoked. Now, the whole situation with unprovoked is that we've been dealing with this nonsense with Iran since around 78, 79, give or take. Prior to Reagan, this was going on during the Carter administration. So when we had our Marines getting bombed and killed in Beirut, and that was 82, 83. This is, this was just, when we had that going on, it was scary. It was absolutely scary. No, I'm thinking it's 80. I think it was 81. I think it was 81. My years may be off a little bit. So please correct me if so. But this, I'm leaning towards the latter. I mean, I'm leaning towards the former. I'm leaning towards the Megyn Kellys and the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, and or that we could get stuck in another quagmire, another endless war, and we can't afford it. We really can't afford it. And I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene we got a lot of situations going on here in America that we need to deal with. We need to deal with America first, Americans first. Now, the situation with Israel, this has been going back and forth for years, that Israel does the U.S.'s bidding, that the U.S. does the Israel's bidding, that Israel basically has the U.S. by the nose and pulling them, say, hey, you know what, this way, that way, you do this, you do that, here's where you go, here's where you don't go. There's a lot of there's a lot of points to be made about that, and there's a lot of shit to be thrown at that as well. And I can totally understand why people are upset regarding Israel, but there is a difference between biblical Israel, based Israel, and the government of Israel. I've got no issues with the biblical Israel. Absolutely not. Prophecy, I've got no problem with that. I've got a problem with the Israeli government and Netanyahu and everyone else there. I do have a problem with that, because they have done things over the years that really make you scratch your head and going, why are we allies with them again? But anyway, that's just me. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you can never miss a thing. Please, and with that, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.